When most people hear the word good, they picture rules, lists on a wall, a judge with a stamp, approved, rejected. Buddhism starts somewhere else. It asks a quieter question. What actually helps a human heart become clearer, kinder, and steadier? What reduces harm? What frees attention to do the next honest thing? If that sounds practical, that is the point. In everyday speech, good often means what I like, or what my group prefers, or what sounds noble in public. In Buddhism, good points to something you can test. It is less about labels and more about results in lived experience. If an action, a sentence, or a habit reliably reduces confusion and cruelty, if it lowers needless turbulence and opens space for wisdom and care, the tradition calls it skillful. If it does the opposite, if it feeds grasping, stirs hostility, thickens confusion, the tradition calls it unskillful. That shift matters. Good is not a badge you wear. Good is a direction you walk. Not once, but again and again. You do not have to become someone else to start walking in that direction. You begin exactly where you stand, with the breath you have, the speech you are about to give, the choice you will make in the next hour. Buddhism does not hand out gold stars. It hands out tools. If a tool creates less suffering and more clarity, keep it. If it does not, put it down and try a better one. That is the plain spirit behind good. What good means. Skillful and unskillful. In the old language, you will hear two compact words: skillful and unskillful. They sound like craft, and that is accurate. A carpenter is not shamed for the first swing of the hammer. They are shown where to place the hand, how to feel the grain. Ethics in Buddhism is this kind of craft training. It looks at what a choice is made of, what it tends to produce, and how it can be refined. 3 questions help. First, what is the intention? In this tradition, intention is not a hidden mystical energy. It is the real aim behind an action. Am I trying to help? Or to harm? To learn? Or to dominate? To connect? Or to punish? Intentions color results, even when outcomes are uncertain. An intention to reduce harm and increase understanding puts the mind on rails that carry it toward wiser action. An intention to grasp, to hurt, or to look superior puts the mind on rails that grind. Second, what is the immediate effect on the mind? Some actions leave the chest tight, the face hot, the attention scattered. Others leave the breath deeper, the eyesight wider, the next step obvious. You can feel the difference without any philosophy. Skillful actions tend to steady and clarify. Unskillful actions tend to agitate and cloud. Third, what is the aftertaste? Look not only at the spike of emotion right now, but at the flavor an hour later. Did the joke cost someone their dignity? Did the shortcut leave a mess that someone else will have to clean up? Did the honest apology make tomorrow lighter? Good is not the loudest feeling in the room. It is the aftertaste that lets people sleep. The tradition also speaks of 3 roots that feed action from below the surface. One set is wholesome: generosity, kindness, and clarity. The other set is unwholesome: grasping, hostility, and confusion. Whatever we water grows. If we water the wholesome roots through speech and action, the mind becomes a garden where helpful habits thrive. If we water the unwholesome roots, the mind becomes a field of thorns. This is not a threat. It is a reminder that good is grown, not granted. A final note that saves many headaches. In Buddhism, good is not nice. Sometimes the skillful thing is a clear no. Sometimes it is a boundary spoken without poison. Sometimes it is stopping a harmful pattern firmly while still aiming for the well-being of everyone involved. Sentimental softness can be another form of avoidance. Goodness here is not sugar. It is medicine. Sometimes sweet, sometimes bitter, always oriented toward less harm and more wisdom. The ground of good: causes, conditions, and freedom. If good were only a matter of personal taste, we would be trapped in debate forever. Buddhism sidesteps that trap by pointing to causes and conditions. Experiences arise when conditions support them, and they change when conditions change. Good names choices that improve conditions so that less suffering arises, and more clarity becomes possible. Think of speech. A single sentence can increase or decrease confusion in a room. A kind lie can buy peace for an hour and cost trust for a year. A hard truth delivered with no care can be technically accurate and practically destructive. Skillful speech pays attention to both truth and effect. It says the honest thing in a way that can be received. Unskillful speech ignores either side. It inflates the ego of the speaker or pacifies the fear of being disliked. You do not need a scripture to feel the difference. The difference lives in how people breathe after the sentence lands. Now, widen the frame. Good choices are those that harmonize with how a moving world actually works. Because all things change, clinging hurts. Because people do not have a fixed essence, repair is possible. Because minds can train, patience and attention matter. In this light, goodness is cooperation with reality, not compliance with a tyrant's demands. Cooperation with the way cause and effect unfold. This is why good and freedom are siblings in this tradition. Good actions reduce the inner compulsions that make us small. Unskillful actions feed those compulsions. When the mind acts from grasping, it becomes a servant of whatever it wants next. When the mind acts from hostility, it becomes a servant of whatever it hates this week. When the mind acts from confusion, it becomes a servant of the last loud thought. Skillful action loosens those contracts. It returns choice. It widens the hallway between stimulus and response. The tradition speaks simply about this widening. If a choice strengthens generosity, kindness, and clarity in you and around you, it is heading in a good direction. If it strengthens grasping, hostility, and confusion, it is not. That is the compass. A person can be impressive, wealthy, or praised, and still be unskillful by this measure. A person can be unknown and poor, and be deeply skillful. The compass does not care about your resume. It cares about causes you are planting and the freedoms you are growing. Good in action. Speech, work, boundaries, community. Let us bring these ideas to ground in 4 areas where most of life happens. What we say, how we earn, how we draw lines, and how we belong to each other. Speech. Skillful speech is honest, timely, and kind. Honest means it does not bend facts to protect the ego. Timely means it fits the moment. True words delivered at the wrong time can be a form of violence. Kind means the tone aims at help, not humiliation. These 3 together lower the heat in a room and raise the light. Unskillful speech regularly does one of 2 things. It hides what needs to be said, or it weaponizes what is true in order to score points. Both increase confusion. Goodness here is not silence at any cost. It is clarity with care. A simple test helps. After you speak, do people understand more and breathe easier, even if the topic is tough? If yes, you are likely in the skillful lane. If they understand less and brace more, even if you won, you probably fed the wrong roots. Work. There is no single Buddhist job. The test is whether your livelihood regularly forces you to betray your own conscience. If it does, your nights will tell you. Good work in this tradition means a way of making a living that you can talk about with a child without flinching. It does not mean glamorous, and it does not mean easy. It means useful, honest, and not built on harm. Where harm cannot be avoided, skillful work faces it squarely and reduces it wherever possible. It tells the truth about trade-offs. It looks for ways to align paychecks with values. The craft spirit returns here. Show up, do the next accurate thing, resist shortcuts that put a knife in someone else's back, and learn. When you make a mistake, repair. When you succeed, do not make the success your identity. Let it be fuel to keep serving. This is what good looks like at a desk, in a kitchen, on a site, or in a studio. Boundaries. Many people equate goodness with endless yes. That mistake breeds resentment and collapse. In Buddhism, a boundary is not a betrayal of love. It is love's structure. A skillful no protects the conditions that make a real yes possible. A boundary spoken early, clearly, and without poison saves 10 apologies later. It is unskillful to say yes while your whole body says no, and your plan is to self-destruct quietly. It is equally unskillful to swing to the other extreme and use boundaries as a shield to avoid intimacy. The middle way is clean edges with a warm center. Here is what I can do. Here is what I cannot do. I still wish you well. Community. Buddhism does not imagine goodness in isolation. It cares about households, friendships, teachers and students, colleagues and neighbors. Skillful living honors the web. It means choosing friends who nudge you toward honesty and courage. It means offering protection to those who depend on you and accepting protection when you need it. It means sharing resources sensibly so panic finds fewer open doors. Our goodness is not a solo sculpture. It is a shared garden. Your clarity steadies mine. My steadiness steadies yours. We take turns. We borrow each other's strength. One thread runs through all 4 areas. Good is not mood. It is maintenance. You do it on Tuesday afternoon, not only on retreat. You do it with sentences and with schedules. You practice failing less messily this month than last, and when you fail, you practice repairing quicker than you used to. The good we are talking about leaves fewer burns on the hands that hold your life. A small kit for choosing the good today. For the last stretch, let's make the idea portable. Here are 5 ear-friendly tools you can carry into your next conversation or decision. No special gear, only attention. The 3-breath check. Before you act, take 3 slow breaths. On breath 1, ask, what is my real intention? On breath 2, ask, what state of mind is this feeding? Grasping, hostility, confusion, or generosity? Kindness, clarity? On breath 3, ask, how will this land in the body in an hour? If you cannot answer cleanly, wait 1 minute if you can. Often the wiser move appears in the pause. The 2-door test. A choice should pass through 2 doors: truth and care. If it clears only 1 door, it is not skillful yet. Truth without care becomes a hammer. Care without truth becomes fog. Adjust the timing, the wording, or the method until both doors open. The aftertaste rule. Imagine you have already done the thing. Feel the aftertaste in your chest. Heavy and defended? Or light and quietly strong? This is not superstition. It is a way of noticing the nervous system's early wisdom about consequences. Use it. The freedom signal. Goodness increases freedom, not in the sense of getting to do whatever I want, but in the sense of being less driven by compulsions. After a choice, do you feel more able to act cleanly in the next moment? or more trapped in defending what you just did? If you are more trapped, pivot now. Repair now. Do not wait for the quarterly review of your life. The ripple check. Picture the web. Who will feel the first ripple of this action? Who will feel the second? If you cannot answer, you are not ready to act. If the ripples mostly increase confusion or fear, rethink the plan. If the ripples mostly increase clarity and safety, proceed gently. A final encouragement. Goodness in this tradition is not about personal purity scored by a judge. It is about reducing unnecessary suffering, while making wisdom and love workable. That is humbling work. It is also hopeful work, because it does not require perfection to begin. Each clean word is a move toward less harm. Each fair decision is a move toward more trust. Each repair is a move toward strength that does not need a mask. You will not always know the right answer. The world is moving, and so are you. But you can learn to recognize better and worse directions. You can choose the conditions that tend toward less confusion and more care. Over time, that practice reshapes the person who is choosing. The mind that used to reach for the sharpest tool in the drawer learns to reach for the tool that builds. The heart that used to close as its first response learns to stay open without being naive. The body that used to brace for every change learns to meet change with steadier breath. So when you hear the question, "What is good in Buddhism?" you can answer simply, "Good is what reduces harm and grows wisdom. Good is what frees attention to meet the next moment cleanly. Good is what keeps love warm while removing the ownership that burns." That is not a slogan. It is a craft. You practice it wherever you stand. And if you ever doubt whether it matters, look at the faces in the room after a skillful choice. The shoulders are lower. The voices are quieter. The next step is clearer. That is good doing its quiet work. That is worth doing again tomorrow.